What is the one thing you tell yourself if you're back at the start of your business? I would say learn how to bend decking tomorrow. That's the one thing. If I could only pick one, I would say learn deck board bending immediately. How do you start building decks? I would love to add it to my services. I would try to partner up with a company looking for help that I would be honest with them and say, hey, I want to start adding this to my list of services, but I'm willing to work for you to show me and see if they'll take you on. I think that's an honest way to do it. If you can't find anybody else, you could also enroll into a carpentry class at your local technology college if you have the time to do that, and learn how to start from the basics and go up from there. YouTube's a great sometimes YouTube's a great instructional. I don't believe everything I see on YouTube. So you got to be careful about who you're following and the techniques people are using, because some of them might not be to code. I would study the building code and learn what's allowed and what's not allowed. That's a really important one. When you start pulling permits, you're going to realize, oh crap, what did I get myself into? So sometimes it's good to have that information before you finish the numbers. So that's my advice. Here's a question. Do you bend your boards first and lay your deck out to match the board? I usually frame the deck and heat bend in my shop. I lay the field decking and then use the curved plank to trace the shape and then cut the field decking to get a decent match to the border. Is pressure treated hemlock a better wood than green treated? Well, it depends. It definitely looks better, but usually has less treatment than the green does. Usually brown tone is about 0.40%. And green is about 0.60%. So green pressure treated usually has more treatment in it than the brown tone, but it's ugly. Okay, tearing out an old deck. How do I know if I can reuse existing posts? And here's what my reply was. I would check the footings first and make sure they are code compliant. If you're good there, carefully inspect the top of the post and the base for deterioration. If there isn't any, replace the post anyways, because it's not worth it to compromise the life of the deck to save a few dollars on posts. Just my opinion. So there you go. Okay, here's a question. Do you work in California? I said I'll go anywhere if the logistics and financials make sense. So yes, I would work in California, but it's going to cost more than your standard deck builder because you want me to come to California. What circular saw blade do you use for AZEK decking? My 24 tooth can be problematic in cold weather. I use a thin curve 40 tooth at least, and a 5.5 inch trim saw to make really good cuts on PVC decking. As long as you're not cutting super tight circles. I used to use this brand called Matsushita, but they're no longer made. So I would look, depending on the saw you're using, but a 5.25 inch blade with 40 teeth is equivalent to like an 80 tooth 12 inch blade. So that's what I use. Do you charge by the square foot or by project, and how much do you charge? I charge per item. So everything with me is a la carte. Here's somebody that says, post some photos of your first jobs. I'll try to find some pictures somewhere and get back to you on that. How does Ipe and Redwood hold up in a wet climate like Washington? Redwood doesn't hold up so well. It mildews out black. We don't get a lot of redwood up here. It's mostly cedar. Ipe is very hard, lasts a long time. It's a great lumber, but it still expands and contracts. It'll age to gray if you don't keep a sealant on it. I use Q-Tech Extreme when I'm putting down sealer on a deck. So something to think about. If you're going to put down Ipe, you still need to put some kind of a UV inhibitor on it to keep it from surface cracking and checking. Somebody asked, is Andy your son? I'm like, no, DJ Studio Man is. What is the right way to handle a customer that loves the work that's been done but won't pay? The right way to handle that would be to hopefully you have a contract and an invoice for them, and when they won't pay, then you would file a lien on their house, construction lien. And in Washington, you got to check the state you're in and all that stuff. In our state, we have to refile that lien every 6 months until we're paid. The thing is, once you have a lien filed on the house, they can't sell that house or refinance it or anything until you get paid. I would say repossess the deck, but you can't do that legally, so I'm not going to say that. What is your take on Ipe? Ipe is a really hard South American wood that lasts a very long time, and some people don't want a synthetic. They want a hardwood. So for those clients, that's what we usually use. We don't do a lot of e-pay decks. We did one last year. I don't have any on the books this year, but it's a great product for a wood-loving environment. It's not a bad alternate to PVC decking either, so you know, it runs close to the same price, but don't get any splinters or you better get them out right away. All right, well, that concludes our Q&A section for this time. If you like what you saw, please click the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified of new content, please hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified every time we post a new video. Thank you very much and have a great day.